Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor, and today I'm going after another finisher in a Fatal Friday video. Fatal Friday is the series I do where I take Mortal Kombat 1 characters, either main roster characters or cameo fighters, into the Kombat League in order to try and earn their unique finishers like fatalities and brutalities. This week I am using a combo of Nitara and the kameo Subzero in order to try and get Nitara's brutality, Something You Ate. And Something You Ate is the brutality version of her spit special attack, which is also her armored wake-up attack. It's not one of the better armored wake-ups because I feel like it has really limited range, but even if you do the armored version of it, you still can activate the brutality, so there's a few different ways you can get this. You can combo into it, you can just do it by itself, or you can use the armored wake-up. So all in all, not too bad for a brutality. It's certainly not one of the more difficult ones, and it's definitely not Nitara's hardest one to get, so this one really should not be too bad. And going into the Kombat League, we are going to be facing off against an individual using Havik and Darrius. It is a pretty interesting combo. I like going against Havik from time to time because I don't really see that character being used all that often. And I definitely don't see people using the cameo Darrius. Like, it is very rare. In fact, this is one of the few times I think I've seen him being used with anyone other than Reiko. And on one occasion in another Fatal Friday video, I know a Reptile user was trying him out, but yeah, not a very common one to see in the Kombat League. At least not for me. So far, this first round is going pretty well. I managed to start off by getting a roughly 300 or more damage combo off. And I have been making good use of the Blood Sacrifice and the Subzero Freeze to open up the opponent for a quick taste special attack, which gets my health back. So, well, actually, maybe I spoke a little bit too soon because we are both below 30% health, and yeah, this is a close finish. I definitely should have used an up block whenever Havik used his Fatal Blow. That would have left him open for a good retaliation and an easy win of this first round, but I did not do that, so made things a little bit more difficult on myself, but we do end up taking the first round. Everything is all good. Let's try to compose ourselves and make this second round much easier. Hopefully, possibly, maybe. So this is not an issue that is specific to this fight, but I do face a problem occasionally whenever I do the blood sacrifice and I try to go into quick taste. On some occasions, and I'm pretty sure this has come up in previous fights as well that I've recorded and posted for Nitara, but sometimes everything can be going great. You get the Sub-Zero Freeze, you get the Blood Sacrifice, and then I go for the Quick Taste Special Attack. But I screw up the button inputs, or maybe my timing's just a little bit off and an input shortcut comes into play. But sometimes I'll actually do the Spit Attack instead of Quick Taste, which not the end of the world. Like, the Spit Attack whenever Blood Sacrifice is active will cause damage over time to the opponent so long as it hits. So at least we're getting some decent damage out of it, so it's not the biggest fuck up in the world, but it's still not nearly as good as just a meter burn quick taste attack that kicks the opponent into the air so you can extend your combo. I do see myself making that mistake in this fight, and it is something that definitely is seen in other fights as well, so I figured I'd point it out because I don't think I've ever mentioned that before. That's actually a common mistake that I have whenever I use this character. And I still don't really know if it's my fault for my button inputs or if it's timing or what it is, but every now and then it does cause me some problems. And I did end up taking that second round against Havik and ended up winning the very first match of the set. And whenever I did that, I did something I don't normally do all that often. I did a mid-set fatality. Normally whenever I do fatalities for these videos, I wait until I've won the entire set. That way it feels more like I've completely earned the fatality having won everything. Although, and I mentioned this in a previous episode as well, with Nitara, it was a little bit different. It was by far the most I had ever struggled with a character. So I was a little bit more lenient on when I would go for a fatality with Nitara versus other characters. Especially because it felt like every time I was doing well with Nitara, person would quit. And every other time, it was like I was losing horribly with Nitara. So it's like, I didn't know when I was going to get the opportunity to get those fatalities because I didn't really see myself winning with Nitara a whole lot, at least in the early days whenever I was using her. So that's kind of why I went for the fatality there. I didn't know this was going to be the Something You Ate video. That realization would not come until later in the set. So at that point in time, I'm like, well, I guess we'll just make this the break check fatality video, not knowing that I was about to pull off something else entirely. But yeah, that is why the fatality came out there and kind of deviated from how I normally like to do things. So yeah, just being really bad at using Nitara is why that occurred, and fortunately, even though I really did not think it was going to happen at the time, I would eventually get decent with Nitara. I'm not even going to say good, but decent, because I got a good number of wins with her in the end. But in these early days, getting a single win with Nitara really was a difficult challenge. Not a bad character, at least not from my perspective, but it was not the most intuitive one for me to pick up. Alright, Havik's health is pretty low, so let's go ahead and go for the Brutality, and I'm even going to do the armored version of it so it's a little bit easier in case he hits me.
Brutality. Nitara wins.
And well, there it was, the something you ate Brutality, which, wow, okay, I actually don't think I earned that Brutality, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Havik went for his Fatal Blow at the exact same time that I went for the Spit attack, even though I armored it. It's still just one hit. The thing is, whenever you do your Fatal Blow, if I'm thinking correctly here, you also have armor. So whenever you have armor, I think it takes at least 2 hits to break the armor of another character. So my one-hit Spit, I don't necessarily feel like it should have broke the armor of Havik's Fatal Blow. Now, maybe it just would have done enough damage with or without the armor, so it activated the Brutality anyway, and I just, by a fraction of a second, beat his Fatal Blow hit. But yeah, I don't think that should have broke armor. I think I may have just got lucky and happened to get it there. Which I have no problem calling myself out when I think maybe something went in my favor that probably shouldn't have, and I do feel like this might have been one of them. In fact, if I were this Havik individual, I might be a little bit annoyed because I think it's the second time that happened to him in this fight, because he went for the Fatal Blow earlier in the fight as well, but I managed to win the round by just doing an uppercut against him, and it stopped his Fatal Blow. It didn't continue. So I'm not an expert on this game by any means, but on 2 separate occasions, he went for the Fatal Blow, and I just barely managed to beat him to close out a round by hitting him with a one-hit attack. Like, he was that close both times, and he would have hit me both times had whatever attack I just did not done just enough damage to deplete the last of his life. So yeah, I ended up winning this one 2-0, but it's a lot closer than the score would imply. Anyway, thank you to the random Havik individual I got matched up with in the Kombat League. It was a fun one, and I managed to get the Something You Ate Brutality, which I will be showing off again at the end of this outro so we can enjoy it before parting ways. But that is going to be it for me in this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to check out the other Fatal Friday videos on the Thor's Entertainment channel. And if you're just really into the Mortal Kombat stuff, that channel also has playthroughs of the story modes for other Mortal Kombat games. So enjoy it, if it is up your alley. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close everything out here. Thank you for watching this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you next time.